Welcome back. You remember several months ago, John McCain said, I'm not going to make Reverend Jeremiah Wright an issue in this political campaign, the controversial ex-pastor, of course, of Barack Obama. But our next guest says Obama's association with Reverend Wright is just the tip of the iceberg.
Stanley Kurtz is with the Ethics and Public Policy Institute. He's joining us from down in our nation's capital. Good morning to you.
How you doing, Steve?
I'm doing okay. Now, so John McCain said a while back, after the firestorm regarding Reverend Wright, okay, I'm not going to be bringing up Reverend Wright. But this morning, you're writing in National Review Online that he should bring it up, and it's not particularly about what he said from the pulpit, but it's instead from his associations. Go ahead and connect some dots here, Stanley.
Well, Steve, John McCain has argued that this is a personal matter, Reverend Wright, between Barack Obama and his pastor. But what I've discovered by looking at these Chicago Annenberg Challenge documents is that Obama's connection to these radical anti-American Afrocentrists goes way beyond Reverend Wright. Obama was giving hundreds of thousands of dollars to a radical Afrocentrist group with an extremely strong anti-American ideology, exactly the same as Reverend Wright's. In fact, the people who were advising this group were close friends of Reverend Wright. So this goes way beyond just one man and his pastor.
So this was when Barack Obama was a community organizer?
This is when Barack Obama was the chairman of an education foundation called the Chicago Annenberg Challenge. I've been looking at these documents, and what I've now discovered is that Obama was funneling hundreds of thousands of dollars to an education group with exactly the same ideology as Jeremiah Wright.
Now, that's so interesting because, you know, people have spoken, the mainstream media, not covering the Stanley. I don't know if you've noticed that or not, because, you know, anything regarding Bill Ayers, oh, you know, you're muckraking and flinging mud and stuff like that. But when you define it so clearly where he was, you know, putting this money in the hands of these organizations, for instance, the one you were just talking about, what's their goal?
Their goal is to create almost a state within a state, a kind of separate world where blacks in the United States stop thinking of themselves as Americans and think of themselves as Africans with a culture that goes back to what they call ancient Kemet, which is their word for ancient Egypt. Academics and historians think that the history and the ideology behind this is crazy and totally invalid, but this is a group that Barack Obama was funding to teach young children in Chicago.
By all accounts, do you think Barack Obama has been questioned about any of this since he decided to run for president?
No, he's not being questioned. The media knows about these documents, and they haven't really looked at them, and I've just sort of pieced together this puzzle here. By the way, Bill Ayers is involved, too. Bill Ayers and Bernadine Dorn are coming out with a book after the election about white supremacy in America, and they're publishing that book with a publishing house that's run by the same people who were doing this anti-American Afrocentrist program. So it's all connected.
Also, you write today, Jacob Carruthers, a leader of the Rights Passage movement, compared Americanization to Western culture and called it rape.
That's right. He thinks that even though Africans, he would call them Africans, he doesn't like the word African-American. Africans in the United States, Carruthers admits they've been influenced by American culture, but that doesn't mean they have to buy American culture. It's like if someone's raped, they don't have to marry the rapist. That's how he puts it. Instead, they should separate from the rapist, meaning separate from America, and have a genuine African culture that makes them un-American.
All right, there's a lot of information here in your latest article, Stanley Kurtz. You believe John McCain should start talking about this because it's not a personal matter anymore, it's policy.
All right.
It's fair game.
And you can read all about it at National Review Online. Stanley, thank you very much for more of your original reporting. Thank you, sir.
Thanks for having me.